Hi, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marisa B. And today I'd like to introduce to you the founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization DFW Women's Club, with over 10,000 active members. Also, a #1 international best-selling author and certified holistic health coach, Misty Fulgencio. I hope I said that correctly.
You
Hi,
did.
Misty.
Yes, you got it. Hi, guys.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming and speaking to the audience today.
Thank you.
Um,
I
uh,
appreciate it.
I'd like to ask you first, can you explain about the organization? What exactly is DFW Women's Club?
Okay, sure. So, I actually started DFW Women's Club as a Facebook group, and it had a different name back then when I first started in 2019, but it was like right before COVID. And the reason I started it is because I don't know if you've had the same feelings, but as you grow or raise your level of vibration, your energy, um, things that no longer serve you or should be in your life start to dwindle away. So I noticed that a lot of the friendships that I had weren't there any longer. Like we were growing apart,
Mm-hmm.
I was changing, raising my vibrations, but then the people I was around weren't doing the same thing. So unfortunately, and fortunately, I lost some friends along that journey. Right. So, one of the things I was like, I really want to create a space where people can come together, be educated, empowered, and connect with each other. And so DFW Women's Club does all of those things in my area where I live. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So hence DFW. And we're actually going to be coming up with a podcast as well in December. So that's kind of exciting too. So,
Oh,
um,
wonderful.
yeah, I'm super excited. And that will, just like you're doing, Marissa, like help everyone everywhere. Right. So like we
Mm-hmm.
can do our mission here and be local, but also we can spread our message to, people all over the world. So our tagline is to be bold, be badass, be you. So that's going to be the podcast of is be bold, be badass, but be you. So that's coming up soon. But the reason I started it basically was that when I was growing up, when I was like becoming a different person, as I'm going through all the experiences that I had, I realized like there's not that much mentorship in the world where I really had somebody to kind of guide me, lead me through the hard times, had to figure out a lot of things on my own. And the Women's Club is really helpful in that we provide all different types of educational webinars like on a monthly basis for our members. We also provide a couple conferences per year.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we're teaching, right? So like each year we're selecting a word that this year has been courage. All of 2023 has been courage. So everything that we have presented or talked about is around courage. So our last conference we just did was pretty amazing. Actually, it was called the Courage to Lead. So we had a beautiful woman come and talk about her like spirit of overcoming. So she had the courage to overcome her like single motherhood of 4 kids and all of the things that she's done, and she's gotten her master's degree, and she's in, and actually one of our board members actually of the DFW Women's Club. We had another one talking about the courage to be disliked. It's not all about
Mm-hmm.
um, coming into the world and wanting everyone to like you, because we're not always going to have that. We're not always going to resonate with everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talked about the courage to lead. So something that I've always been passionate about is being a leader, and helping people, showing them the way, and there's parts of us of like leading ourselves, right? So part of us, we're like, well, if you can't really lead others effectively if you can't lead yourself, right? So part of what we talked about was the different methodologies of like helping yourself to be able to lead. So that's taking
Mm-hmm.
care of yourself, practicing self-care. There's other things like setting time aside to exercise,
Mm-hmm.
finding good valuable relationships where It's not a codependent nature. There's so many different aspects of like leading yourself that can help you to also be effective, build your confidence for you to be able to lead people later down the road. So that was our last conference that we had. And it was just phenomenal because a lot of women left out of there feeling that encouragement, having real tools to help them move forward in their lives, which, we need those things. And part of what you're doing is helping that mission too, right? So it makes me really excited that I get to be here today because, one of the things I've been doing for many years is trying to empower women. So I don't know if you've seen, but I do permanent makeup. That's like one of my.
I know that. That's when we had first. Well, of course, it was speaking by emails and a messenger, and that was the thing because that's not frivolous. That's a form of self-care, really, if you think about it, right? Because it's important to feel good about yourself in whatever way that may be, right? Whether you want to do your hair differently, whether you want permanent makeup, whether you want makeup that's not permanent, but it is a form of self-care to make you feel good. So go ahead. So explain about that you do that's important.
It is important because like these women are leaving the shop after I'm finished with them and everybody's, having a really nice, beautiful, natural appearance, but it's just accentuating what they already have. It's not creating something new. It's helping them to have the confidence of, either whether it's dealing with age, right? Like I have some women, they can't apply their makeup because they're shaky or they can't see any longer, right? So this is helping them to build that confidence and feel good about themselves as they go out and talk to the world, and also helping their mission to, participate in everyone's lives. And it's something that I've always been passionate about. So as they're sitting in my chair, I'm trying to empower and educate and all of the things that I've stood for so long. And when they're in my chair, and I wanted to do that more, right? So part of what I did was get into Reiki, which I know sounds crazy and silly, but I've always been more of that like empathic person. I can feel people's energy. I can, feel like people will be like, wow, how did you know that? Are you a witch? I'm like, no, I just have that intuition about people and I can feel how they're feeling. So I actually got into Reiki. One of my girlfriends was like, you need to do this with me. And I was like, that is so crazy because I was just looking at Reiki online. When I was a kid, I used to like put my hands over myself and wipe away the energy, not knowing what I was even doing. And it's just, innately within me that I was doing those things. So I had been looking into it and I looked at YouTube and I was like, no, I need to like actually take a class on this. I wasn't feeling, it wasn't resonating with me on YouTube. And then my girlfriend calls, she's like, you're going to do this class with me. And I'm like, well, what class are we doing? So she's like, Reiki, you're going to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I've been looking into it. So, that's divine. I was really excited about it. I was like, yes, this is going to be so fun, and I took the first class thinking, I'm good. I'm going to take the class and I learned and I'm going to do it for myself. And that's all. But I got this like energy boost and I felt like that unblocking happening. I felt my vibration lifting. I felt all of the amazing things that Reiki can do for you, even after just my first class, which is like a level 1, right? So if you're not familiar with Reiki, basically it at that first level, it's kind of like a self Reiki. You can do it on some, things and your dogs and maybe friends and family, but it takes a lot longer. You're not as open. The channel's not as open. So I did that class and I was like, I want more. I want more. So my friend, she was happy just taking the first class. And I was like, I want more. I like this. I want to do it. So I took the second class and she came along with me. And even my daughter actually came along with me. So she's a Reiki level 2. But Joe and I, we did it all the way to Reiki Master Teachers. And so we are both teachers and both excited about it. And this is something that, the especially with the way the world is right now, we need
Mhm.
that light and love. We need people to show there's a way other
Mhm.
than this day to day, so I've really been focused on that in my permanent makeup business. And that's how it kind of goes together
Mhm.
also, is because all these women coming into my place are really nervous. Like, they're worried about how they're going to look.
Mhm.
They're worried about pain, all of those things. And I feel like that touch that I have now, because that Reiki, as soon as I touch their face or their,
Yes.
anything, they start to
It's
feel
nice that you
that, and they
offer
start
that.
to
Yeah.
feel right. Yeah. And it's just part of me, right? Like, I'm not turning it on. It's just part of
Mhm.
me now. And so I'm able to put them at ease and help them with their anxiety. And so it's kind of an added bonus. They get a Reiki charged permanent makeup service.
Yeah.
um, and sounds silly, but honestly, like, they need it. And I feel like it helps build that connection between us.
Mhm.
And, you know, they feel good when they leave. They feel confident. They feel empowered. And, I'm just trying to spread that love in the world, honestly. And that's one of the things that has helped me, I guess, be successful in the fields that I'm in. Like, this
Mhm.
little group that I started on Facebook is now actually over 11,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Um, since I wrote my bio the last
Yeah.
time. So, and it's women, and we're really, I know this sounds silly, but we're kind of selective of who we let in the group.
Mhm.
So we want to keep that high vibe energy in that group. So we are looking at people's profiles and kind of what they're
Mhm.
talking about, and, how they're interacting with the world before we let them come in this sacred space that we have,
Mhm.
so it's a space for women to connect and feel beautiful and empowered, and, ask questions about things. And it's a private group. So
Mhm.
it's kind of closed off to the public, right? So you have to, like, join and answer our questions. And, we really want people that are interested in bettering themselves, but
Mhm.
also, creating relationships long term. So that's what we're doing, and it's
And
fun.
how did you come to the healing arts yourself? Because I know you're also a certified holistic health coach.
Yes.
How did you actually come to all of the healing arts?
Oh my gosh. So with the Reiki master, I'm like, okay, what's next? Right. So, and I'm psycho because I love doing so many different things. Like, I'm actually taking yoga certification now too.
Mhm.
So, I just feel like I want to connect more with that
Mhm.
spiritual side of things. Like, I feel myself being pulled in that direction more. And as I get older, permanent makeup's not going to be the thing. It's very taxing on your body. You're bending
Mhm.
over all the time. It's not good for your back. And um, I'm 46. I'm kind of getting at that place where I'm like, I need to start
Mhm.
transitioning to the life that I want now, right?
Mhm.
Or that the life I want in the near future, maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. My goal is to retire when I'm 60. So I'm like, trying to really
Mhm.
do the things to prepare myself for that. But I actually started looking into life coaching. I had listened to a bunch of different podcasts about, I don't know if you ever heard of the Life Coach School, which I love their podcast. She's got so many different things. And I was looking at, the cost of the training,
Mhm.
and it's a lot. So
Mhm.
I was like, but, you have to invest in yourself
Mhm.
if you want to create that sacred space for yourself and also for the others. But I went through her training. She had a it's like a self-coaching scholars program that I did.
Mhm.
So I went through that for a while. I took all the classes I could take and got
Mhm.
all the knowledge I could take. And then I found Natura Institute, and they're actually out of Australia. And she
Mhm.
has a certified holistic practitioner. So I was like, okay, well, I like the life coach aspect, but I
Mhm.
am holistic. Like, I want the mind, body, and spirit part of
Mhm.
things. And I didn't want to leave out that spirit portion of things. So I took that training, and I'm also ready to take the master's coaching certified course too. So all of this has kind of like led me into this path of,
Mhm.
the path to success is like all over, right? So it's like up and down and all around. And when COVID was kind of, you know, lifting its head, rearing its head, and, I was unsure, not certain what permanent makeup was going to be doing. Are people going to be able to do this? We couldn't open our shop for several months because we
right, exactly, lockdowns,
spaces,
yes.
right? So we didn't know what was going to be happening either. So that kind of like opened my mind to different things. And I'm very much of like go with the flow. And if something stays in my mind for too long, I'm like, I have to go that direction. That's the intuition talking again. So, you know, that was one of the directions I felt like I need to go in that direction. Is like, okay, I started Reiki right before COVID happened, not knowing how much I would desperately need it, you know, with all of how much the world would desperately need it. So, right. Like
exactly, with what's going on. Yeah.
And as a Reiki master, which is amazing, you can now do Reiki on the situations of things happening. Right. So those were things that like me and Joe and my instructor for Reiki were really like excited about doing, just in the world. So
now, which Reiki did you get? Which Reiki did you do? Was it
I'm under Usui?
Yeah.
Usui. So, and you know, it's something where people, I think, try to make it into something that it's so complicated and you have to know all of these things. And really, it's just about that touch. It's just about the touch. It's just about setting that intention. And, you know, you can look at your paper that tells you what the codes or what the
actual symbols, right? Symbols are,
what the names of the symbols are. I mean, you can look at those things and not feel bad that you're looking at a piece of paper. You know, people try to make it like, oh, it is very sacred, but at the same time, it's like you have to keep practicing so that you can get to the point where you don't have to look at that piece of paper.
Like everything else, right? Like everything else.
Exactly.
Once you're familiar with it, you know, then you can do it over and over again by rote once you're familiar with it, and that takes time. You know, so that's but it is true that with the mastership you can in fact use Reiki on situations, which all of us that are Reiki masters should really be doing, because the way the world is at this point, right?
There's so much going on, you know, the whole situation with Palestine and Israel, you know, there's just so many situations where we can lift that light, and maybe we can't make, you know, this extreme impact that we'd like to make, but if more of us are doing it, think about that. Think about it. You know, we're raising all boats. So, but yeah, the healing arts is something that I've really connected with. I wish I would have learned it earlier in my life, you know, and that's why I also want to spread the message now. And I'm so thankful. Like my daughter went and did this with me. She's 25 now, but when she did it, she was like 22, I think, and maybe 21 or 22. But I was so thankful she did it because it gave her an outlet. She suffers with some extreme, like severe anxiety. And that's helped her tremendously. I've been able to teach my sister-in-law and my mother and, you know, anybody that's willing to listen and learn. I'm willing to teach. So, and it's not always about the financial gain either, right? Like to me, it's more about like the ministry of like spreading the message, spreading love and light. And it means a lot. It means a lot to me. So.
And now with your group, with the group that you started, you say you started initially on Facebook, and it's a private group, but it's for the Dallas Fort Worth area because you do have conferences. But aren't there women who have joined from other areas of the country?
There's a few. We don't let too many, honestly, because we're trying to keep it more local so that those people can connect. We do several events a month. So like just yesterday, we just went axe throwing, you know, so.
Yeah. So, right. So you're having groups meet because it's a local group.
Right. And so we're trying to, you know, create that connection locally. And you would be surprised about, I would say probably at least 50% of the women that are joining and the reason they say they're joining, that's one of the questions we ask is like, why are you wanting to be a part of this? And they say they're looking to make friends.
Right. In their area. Yeah. In their area. Because I think that's a great idea. So when I had heard what you were doing, because it's a great idea that you're being localized to your area and you're actually having events in person and conferences and providing a lot of information and activities to these women so that they could join in together and they can socialize together. And I thought that was a wonderful idea. And I thought, isn't it a shame that there are not different chapters or sections in the country?
Hey, it may be coming. You never know. And actually, that's something that, I would love to see. There's great, and not to say there's not already something probably in your area that does those things, right? There's a organization called meetup.com. I don't know.
Yes, that I know of. Yeah.
So there's all these meetup groups of people that could potentially, meet up in a way.
Right.
There's so many different like women's groups and stuff. And it's funny because I created this and now that I see all these little offshoots of people doing the same thing, which is great. I think it's wonderful because,
you created a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
That's what I found that was a little bit different, because Meetup, it's just, it's an online app, an online platform where people can make contact with whatever their interests are. And so you're meeting people with the same interest if you so choose to join that event. And of course, that was all pre-pandemic. Now I'm not, I know it still exists, and I'm not sure how much, how crazy busy it is now. Maybe it was before and not now. Maybe it's just getting back to that. But I found interesting that you had created a nonprofit organization, similar like to Junior League. Those types of things. And so why did you decide to make it a nonprofit organization? Was there a specific reason for that?
So I had actually I went on a trip to Chicago, actually. And one of the ladies that I met with, she took us to the Chicago Women's Athletic Club. And we walked in and it's like this beautiful building. And, I was like, wow, this is just fantastic, and it got my mind spinning of like, this is the vision that I want to have. Right. And at the time we were called something different. We were called DFW Girl Gang, it was just kind of sketchy, not anything major. But after I left that club that day, I was like, this is a women's club. Like I felt that elevation of the people that we want in this group. So these women can come together. Not only are we lifting those women, but we're also lifting women that need it in a different way. So like we offer scholarships and we help with that, where they can come and join us at these conferences and events and things so that they can also be lifted, and personal development and things like that. So one of the things we do is we have a personal membership and we have a business membership. So our business people, they get the opportunity to kind of market to our Facebook group, right? But they're also get all of the access to all of the virtual educational sessions we get. They get discounts on different things. They get to be in our little, we have like a business catalog of like businesses we deal with, that kind of thing. Right. And then we have a personal membership and they get to enjoy all of the educational things too. So that goes to our bottom line, which also helps us to be able to give and support and sponsor people that would like to be a part of these conferences and the events and things like that. So long term, we're very new as far as like the nonprofit. We're literally going to have our 1-year birthday in December. So we're having a big birthday bash in January. So we're super excited. We're going to make it kind of fancy. We'll have a nice silent auction, and we found a really great space. And one of the things that's made us so successful is the relationships that we've been building here and locally. Right. So like we have the Aloft hotels. One of the ladies there, she literally has donated the conference room space to us. So, and very minimal charge of like just setup fees or something like that. She's donated that to us. And we have other women that want to be sponsors so that they can see. This last conference, we were able to have 13 women that were sponsored that got to come.
Oh, nice.
we do it kind of big. So, they're getting all kinds of swag, and, they're getting the opportunity to see amazing speakers. And it's usually, about 5 or 6 hour event that we're putting on. And then we'll have a space where they can actually meet each other and talk. We do speed friending. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's kind of like speed dating. But it's like with speed friending. So we have like lists of questions, because it's awkward when you meet somebody and you're freaking out, like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to talk about. So we provide like a little box of questions people can pick out of, and just ask each other questions until they get to the point where it's just like a natural conversation.
That's a nice idea. That's a nice idea. And now you say you're going to do a podcast for the group. And
it's for the group, but we're actually making it, we want it to extend. So that's our way of extending past, the local area. So we can extend past there, and we're not trying to, I don't know, you never know. We may end up getting a branch everywhere. Who knows?
You never know. What the future
I'm open to all the possibilities, right? But at this time, we feel like there's so many women out there like yourself that can inspire and empower and teach, that there's so much knowledge that needs to be said. And
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I always say to keep the conversations going, because we certainly know that the conversations of hatred and harm and violence are out there. So why are we not doing these types of conversations?
Exactly. And so that's the goal, so I'm sure we'll probably have you on our podcast here soon.
Thank you. Tell me a little bit about your book, because it is an international bestseller. I love the title. Can you speak a little bit about it? Tell us the title. And
so it's the Creative Life book series. So it's the book number 2, and it's Radical Self-Love, Creating the Light to Ignite. Basically, I and 63 other authors came together, and all are sharing our stories of radical self-love. And I am definitely, and never thought I would be an author. Never in a million years. I didn't think that was in my mind. And either was public speaking, to be honest. I was like terrified, of doing that. But God has different plans for me. So here I am, and I'm just kind of accepting those different things. I actually just submitted my submission for another book called The Spirit of Survivors. And nice. It's another compilation, but the book is amazing. And actually I have a free gift for everybody that if they would like to.
Thank you. Yes, I'll put that in the description along with your website and all the information, because I found that title, Radical Self-Love, because it's almost like we have to say radical self-love, because when people hear self-love, they mostly think of people that are self-centered. And so a lot, especially women, they're always afraid to show any form of self-love, because to them it's always this feeling, or maybe these negative programming
there is a negative
that are going back, right? That it's selfish and self-centered, self-absorbed, and you're spending all this time on yourself. And so I think that's a stigma. And so I loved that title, Radical Self-Love.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book, and there's so many amazing stories from everyone. My story is chapter 55, and it's about forgiveness. It's about forgiveness, and that's one of the ways of radical self-love, is to forgive, so that you can be whole, so that you can live the life that you want to live. You don't necessarily have to forget, but you can forgive. There's a lot of trauma that I experienced growing up, from both sides, my dad's side and my mom's side. And so in this book, I talked about like my dad, and basically how I got pregnant at a young age. I was 20, which wasn't that super young, but he actually had me when I was 20, or when he was 20, and my mom was 17. But I got pregnant when I was 20, and he was like so disappointed in me, and like basically that I ruined, kind of like I ruined my life and, all of those things. And I realize now, like looking back on that, and that's one of the things I kind of had to forgive them about is, that feeling of I'm a disappointment. And I was like, my daughter is not a disappointment. She's an amazing human being, she's so great. And I've had 2 more kids since then, but it's one of those things where I had to forgive the traumas that I experienced, the hurt that I experienced, so that I could be the best version of myself. And that's how that's what I wanted to give to others, is that you can forgive people and it's okay. And yeah, it's part of that ego and like giving it up so that you can heal yourself.
Forgiveness is almost for ourselves often.
Yeah, it is.
Because if we don't forgive, we can't move forward.
Right. Yeah. And you can't. And that was part of the thing that I talked about. But there's so many amazing stories in that book. So I'm actually going to give everybody a free copy of the downloaded version.
Thank you very much. The audience loves that. Definitely we'll put that in. I think
you'll enjoy it so much. There's a lot of like thought leaders, artists. It's the woman that started this was Jessica Hughes, and you would enjoy her tremendously. Like her spirit is just like so boisterous, and the light is shining so hard, but she had such a huge story too. And she helped us write this book, and the process that we went through to write this really was amazing. And I was like, wow, maybe I can be an author. And guess what? I am, because that book is the #1 best.
Yes, it's international. Yes.
Yeah. So we all of us in that book is international. So I think it was Australia and England that we internationally got bestseller. And it was funny because at the time, Matthew McConaughey and Arnold Schwarzenegger both had books out, and we beat them.
Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's wonderful.
I know. I was like, wow. So don't tell me the world doesn't need this type of thing. Right.
Right. Doesn't need to hear what's said in that book. It's true.
Need to hear it, all of it.
And now what you're writing for your second book, is that still part of the same group? Is that going to be?
No,
so it's something different.
Which this person that's putting it together, our publisher, she has a totally different method. It's very like fluid and kind of using, just kind of going with the flow, and it feels different, but it's also a beautiful process. And it's so interesting to see, like, one was very like methodical, process driven, everything is outlined and structured. And then this one is like very fluid, and, she'll pop in and give us a voice message about things. And, she's like, okay, I want to know what your ideas are. We're going to start writing in about a few weeks, just very like,
it's interesting. It's interesting to get the behind the scenes. I guess like human beings, everybody has a different method. I would never, the audience wouldn't know that. I would never have known that there's a different method depending on who's orchestrating the book.
Yeah. And it's been, both processes were beautiful. And I would say both processes, which I didn't expect, but, I wrote about personal things. So it was very therapeutic to get it out there on paper. And I was really concerned about what I was writing about in this second book. It hasn't come out yet. I think it's staked to come out in late December. But during that process, I was like, I'm kind of worried, like, I had a lot of baggage there. I grew up with an alcoholic and the addict mother. And so this is about her, right? So I have like all this family trauma. And, I wrote about the story with my mom and how also it ends up being forgiveness too, because my mom and I have like created this amazing bond now, which I never thought was going to happen. Because of the situations growing up, and she just really wasn't in our lives that much. And now we're actually I'm getting married next week. So
congratulations. Yes, I know you were. Congratulations.
And I'm putting her, in this book, but also this is going to be like her first time ever going out of the country. ever experiencing something like this. I'm really excited to be able to like help her experience that and know, kind of what there is out there. And I'm excited. I'm excited to have her a part of it. And on the other token, my dad is not coming. So I've had that healing of this journey of like accepting that in my life. And I'm like, man, it makes me sad that he's not there, and I'm hurt by it. And it's another one of those things where I'm like, okay, now I gotta forgive him again, and I'm like, over here at one token, I'm like, okay, well, I forgave my mom for not being there for all so many years of my life and not participating and, putting me through a lot of situations I shouldn't have had to go through. I've forgiven her for that. And we've created this bond. But here I am, my dad's not coming to my wedding. And I'm like really having a hard time of forgiveness, right? Like, I'm like, man, I'm struggling with this. And I really had to like pray about it and really, do Reiki about it and just kind of think about it in a different way. And it sucks because I'm like, man, my dad, which I never got to have a wedding. I was married once before. I was married for 12 years, but I got pregnant at 20, I got pregnant and my dad's like, we're canceling the wedding type of thing. So I never got to have the wedding before. And so I was like, well, I'm really looking forward to kind of like this new life, this new me, this new chapter. And having my dad walk me down the aisle. And that's something that I don't get to experience. But my husband's family, he was like, oh, I will walk her down the aisle. He didn't even have, like, my husband didn't even have a chance to say what was the whole situation. And they're like, yeah, I'm going to walk her down. Yeah. So I've gained this new family, a family that I've always, desired and wanted, very close knit. His daughter happens to be the same name as mine. So my legal name is Melissa. So when I got married legally, my last name changed to Fulgencio. So I was also Melissa Fulgencio. So he's always like, I love you like my daughter, Melissa Fulgencio. So it's like, I got that love, but it also took that radical self-love, right? Of narrowing down, like, I need to change this in myself. I saw all of these things of like, hey, I'm the common denominator here in all these crappy things that are happening. Change those things through radical self-love, through personal development, through listening to tons of podcasts and through listening to, lots of YouTube videos, through taking these courses. All of the things have kind of like created this new version of me that I'm very proud and I love and adore myself, which I don't think I could have ever said that before.
Well, it's wonderful that you can say it now. Yeah. And you know what? I have clients as a therapist and I've told them, listen, we make our families. We can select our families. Not everybody has the same kind of family, but all types of people make a family. It's what you choose. So that's the important part. And so now you have a brand new family, family that you want. And that's the important part.
Yeah. And being the different person, the higher level vibration and all of that has attracted the husband that I have. Who's amazing, that all of the things like checked all the boxes. I'm like, yes, wow, I'm 46 years old. Like I really didn't think that was going to happen, at this point in my life, at this stage of my life. But I've been very fortunate. And I think all of the work that I have done has helped lead me to this place where I can have the life that I love, where I, can lift others, can empower others in a way that maybe they didn't think was possible, and all the different things I'm doing. And, I'm kind of my friend calls me a serial entrepreneur, which I'm like, it's good. But, I'm just a lover of life. And I just want everybody to be able to experience those things with me.
The same things. Yes.
Yeah.
So now you do all these things, everything going on. What's next for you? Do you think you have something new in the works down the line?
Down the line, yeah. So I saved I saved the URL, Women's Entrepreneur Association. So that is probably where we're going as far as being more of a global entity versus it being just local.
Oh, wonderful.
But I don't know yet. Like I'm still ruminating on that. I saved, I bought all the URLs. I saved the Facebook pages. I saved the Instagram because I was like, I need to just save it
just
all.
To be right. Just to be safe. Right.
Yeah. It's there waiting for me. So whenever I get
I think it would be wonderful. I mean, we probably need a chapter in every state, in every area, really, in every area, many in the States. Yeah.
So, and we can combine all of these great things together and, see where we go. So I think that's the next step, but I'm waiting for the right timing. And I haven't been told what
timing,
that is.
Yes, it's all
right?
timing.
Like,
right? Yeah.
I don't have that knowing yet of like, that's when it's happening type of thing. So usually I get this inkling or a knowing of to start something. Kind of like I started the nonprofit. Like I got this inkling knowing, I was like, okay, I got to start this. Who's jumping on board with me?
So, you know what? We'll all have to look forward to when you get the word to start, that'll be wonderful. But first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming on, because I know you're a very busy woman. So I appreciate you coming on to speak to the audience today. I want to say again, congratulations. Have a wonderful wedding, because I know that's imminent.
Yes.
So
very.
And hopefully we'll speak soon. I'll be looking forward to hear the podcast. It'll be interesting to hear, because, it's going to be a bent. I know you're going to cover everybody, across the globe, but it's going to pertain to also your area. So it'll be interesting to see how everything goes.
Well, it just opens the doors too. Like we're doing all these virtual webinars, right? So it just opens the doors to, and we try to keep those virtual webinars of people that are local. Right. So you can do business with each other and you gain the knowledge from each other. But like this podcast is definitely something that we are looking for women all over the world to speak life into the people. So that's what we're doing. But I appreciate
definitely have to keep me posted on the podcast.
Oh, so you're going to be on there. Actually, so don't even.
Well, thank you. But we can actually mention it in the group, because this way people can listen as well. This is always interesting to hear what others have to say, especially in the healing arts, because the world needs it.
Yeah.
But again, thank you so much for coming on, and have a wonderful afternoon, evening as well.
You too. I appreciate you so much.
Take care. Thank you, Misty. Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye.